Ridiculous. China appears to be sticking with its copycat strategy as they have taken further steps with a replica tower system. However, it's clear that this approach cannot rival SpaceX, as the Starship system remains far ahead in progress. Meanwhile, the future of NASA's Mars Sample Return project is on the verge of being decided. Let's dive right on in on today's episode of Great SpaceX to cover these topics. SpaceX demonstrated the groundbreaking potential of its Mechazilla Arm rocket-catching system last October, and all eyes are now on the company as it prepares to replicate this achievement during its 7th flight. The effectiveness of this innovative system is undeniable. However, following SpaceX's success, a Chinese company, Cosmo Leap, also known as Dahang YueQian, has made headlines for its apparent efforts to replicate the Starship system, including the iconic tower and Chopsticks mechanism. Recently, CosmoLeap announced significant progress with its copycat system. On X, CNSA Watcher shared CosmoLeap's Chopsticks rocket recovery test tower has successfully completed static testing and system debugging, with data matching simulation predictions and all system performance meeting expectations. This announcement was backed by a more detailed update on Weibo, a Chinese social media platform. According to the official post, the company's chopstick holding rocket recovery test tower has successfully completed static testing and debugging. Key structural measurement data aligned with simulation predictions, and the system's performance met all expectations. The update included notable images of the Chopsticks system undergoing weight testing. In these images, CosmoLeap appeared to be using long cylindrical objects resembling metal blocks, suspending them from the chopsticks with tethers. This testing method bears a striking resemblance to what SpaceX has done in the past during the development and operation of its Mechazilla Arm system. SpaceX first conducted weight tests on the Mechazilla system in early 2022, shortly after completing installation. Later, the company repeated these tests prior to Flight 5, preparing for the Super Heavy booster's catching attempt. SpaceX used 6 orange water bags, 3 on each arm, with each arm supporting 250 tons for a total load of 500 tons. While the specific weight applied in CosmoLeap's test remains unclear, their tower appears less robust and their rocket is significantly smaller than Starship. These differences suggest that their system is not only a copy, but also a less capable one. Unsurprisingly, the internet has been critical of CosmoLeap's efforts. Comments on their announcement ranged from skepticism to outright ridicule. I'm curious if this company isn't a scam. It's really ridiculous to build a tower and add a concept just to make money. What a joke! The tower doesn't even have control mechanisms or cables. It looks like a simple steel structure. Who are they trying to fool? And this one's my favorite. Why copy others? Come up with original ideas so you can afford patent fees in the future. Even Elon Musk couldn't resist commenting on the matter. In November, he simply wrote, "Looks familiar." Meanwhile, Jared Isaacman, NASA's new administrator, was more direct in his criticism, stating, "Starship's rapid reusability and orbital refilling mark a revolutionary leap in space capabilities. The high ground has always mattered: military value, economic potential, and civilization-changing discoveries. We can't ignore it, and neither can China." Despite the backlash, CosmoLeap seems undeterred. In November, the company announced it had secured $14 million, or 100 million yuan, in funding from various investors to support the development of its tower and related systems. With the recent static test completed, CosmoLeap appears close to finishing its Chopsticks tower. The next steps likely involve constructing orbital launch mounts and other necessary infrastructure. The company aims to deploy its system as early as 2026 for its first launch. However, while CosmoLeap's ambitions are clear, their efforts are unlikely to pose a serious challenge to SpaceX. The technological and operational gap between the two companies is immense. SpaceX's systems are not just functional, they are revolutionary. The Mechazilla Arm is a prime example, setting a standard for innovation and efficiency that mere imitation cannot match. China's aggressive strategy of replicating successful foreign technologies has drawn criticism not only from industry leaders but also from the public. Many view this approach as a shortcut that undermines genuine innovation. While CosmoLeap may be able to mimic certain aspects of SpaceX's system, they lack the underlying expertise and vision that have propelled SpaceX to the forefront of the aerospace industry. Meanwhile, SpaceX continues to push the boundaries of space exploration. The company's relentless pursuit of rapid reusability and cost efficiency has set a new benchmark for the entire industry. Its accomplishments are not just milestones, but stepping stones toward humanity's long-term presence in space. If you agree that CosmoLeap's efforts will fall short of challenging SpaceX, Reply, "I agree with Kevin" in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for the latest updates on SpaceX's remarkable journey. Together, let's continue to witness history being made. In the meantime, SpaceX continues to make remarkable strides in its quest to revolutionize space exploration. Based on the progress observed over the past year, the company is on track for its highly anticipated Flight 7, where it'll attempt to catch the Starship booster for the second time. Moreover, plans are in place to catch the Starship itself as early as Flight 8, potentially within this year. To ensure success, SpaceX is consistently upgrading its systems. For instance, the lifting pins for the Chopsticks have been replaced, and the communication systems have been reinforced. The orbital launch mount and protective walls are regularly painted and strengthened. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous testing to guarantee reliability and readiness for upcoming missions. Meanwhile, preparations for future milestones are in full swing. At the launch site, work on the Pad B system is advancing steadily. Key components such as the OLM, Chopsticks, flame bucket, and water deluge pipes are ready for installation. Nearby, the tank farm system is being expanded to support the increasing demands of Starship's operations. At the production site, the hardware for upcoming flights is already taking shape. S-34 appears to be complete, while upper sections of S-35 have been spotted. For the Super Heavy, B-15 has undergone cryogenic testing, B-16 seems construction ready, and the first parts of B-17 have recently been revealed. Additional projects, such as the proposed Gigabay expansion, demonstrate SpaceX's relentless drive to scale its capabilities. Star Factory as well continues to operate at an unprecedented pace. Testing at the Massey test site remains active, ensuring that prototypes are ready for the rigorous demands of operational missions. SpaceX is ambitiously targeting 25 Starship flights this year, with plans to scale up to an astounding 400 flights in 2025. These goals underscore the company's leading position in the global space race. In contrast, China's efforts to compete face significant challenges. Despite its ambitious aspirations, China's aerospace initiatives are riddled with technical and logistical issues. Their tower systems appear unbalanced, with chopsticks that are disproportionately large and long compared to their comparatively small rockets. Such design miscalculations could lead to operational problems, particularly during the critical rocket lifting process. Additionally, China's construction of launch towers near residential areas raises substantial safety concerns, posing risks to both people and property. This issue highlights a long-standing problem within China's aerospace industry, where innovation often takes precedence over safety. Furthermore, their Leap or YueQian rocket, a blend of designed elements from SpaceX's Starship and Falcon 9, illustrates a problematic approach. While incorporating features such as 2 stages, 9 engines, stainless steel, and methane fuel, the design may result in conflicts and inefficiencies due to its lack of cohesion. China's aerospace sector also suffers from a lack of long-term vision and sustainability. Companies like CosmoLeap often emerge with rapid momentum, but a single failure can lead to their swift demise. If CosmoLeap falters, it risks fading into obscurity, reflecting the broader fragility of China's aerospace investments. In other news, an important update regarding NASA's Mars sample return program has captured attention. The program, initially estimated at $3 billion in 2020, has ballooned to an $11 billion budget and is now delayed until 2040. These setbacks have raised questions about the program's viability and the U.S.'s competitive standing in space exploration. NASA has called for proposals to reduce costs and accelerate the timeline, and a crucial audio-only press conference is scheduled for January 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern to address the program's future. Hosted by NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and Associate Administrator for Science Missions Nikki Fox, the conference will outline NASA's efforts to achieve its goals while mitigating cost and complexity. The current MSR plan involves collaboration with the European Space Agency, or ESA. Together, they aim to launch sample return vehicles to Mars, retrieve samples collected by the Perseverance rover, and bring them back to Earth. However, the project's complexity has significantly escalated costs and delayed timelines. China, meanwhile, has announced plans to return Mars samples by 2028, which is well ahead of NASA's revised schedule. This intensifies the urgency for NASA to rethink its approach to the MSR program. This challenge presents a golden opportunity for SpaceX and its Starship program. With its rapid progress and innovative capabilities, SpaceX is uniquely positioned to assist NASA in overcoming these hurdles. Musk has expressed ambitious goals for Starship, aiming for an uncrewed Mars mission within the next 2 years and a crewed mission within 4. Starship's potential to dramatically reduce costs and simplify mission architecture could be the key to revitalizing NASA's MSR program. SpaceX's reusable Starship system offers unparalleled advantages. Its ability to carry large payloads, coupled with its cost-effective design, aligns perfectly with NASA's goals to lower expenses and risks. By leveraging SpaceX's expertise, NASA could expedite its timeline and reassert its leadership in planetary exploration. Moreover, such collaboration would enable the US to outpace China's aggressive timeline for Mars sample return. As we await the outcome of the January 7th conference, the stakes could not be higher. The decision made will shape the future of NASA's MSR program and potentially redefine international space competition. With SpaceX already achieving milestones that were once thought impossible, stay tuned to the NASA press conference for updates, and don't forget to support SpaceX's groundbreaking journey into the cosmos. Hey everyone, I'm coming to you with a bit of disappointing news. Musk has officially confirmed a slight delay for Flight 7 compared to its original schedule. However, this delay might be necessary at this stage. On a brighter note, in the coming days, SpaceX will assist in launching the first lunar mission of the year. Meanwhile, NASA has just shared its initial updates from the conference on the Mars sample return program. As the previously estimated date of July 10th for Flight 7 approached, I highlighted several factors casting doubt on this schedule. Now, it's no longer a matter of doubt. The date has officially been confirmed as incorrect. During a recent gaming livestream on X, Musk personally announced the delay of Flight 7. In his words,
Starship Flight 7 looks like it's pushed about 3 or 4 days. So probably sometime next week.
This livestream took place on the 7th, prompting many to assume that the 3 or 4 days delay Musk mentioned is calculated from that date. This interpretation suggests a potential launch date around the 11th, coinciding with a previously discussed backup date. But what's interesting is that a document, possibly originating from the FAA, was recently released, indicating that Starship Flight 7 is scheduled for the 11th as the primary date, with the 12th as the backup. This timeline aligns with Musk's mention of next week and seems plausible based on the progress being made. However, I believe Musk's delay estimate is based on the earlier expected launch date of January 10th. If that's the case, the new launch window could extend to January 13th or 14th, pushing the mission to midweek rather than the usual weekend schedule. Comparing this with the FAA's information, a midweek launch seems more likely, as my earlier prediction also suggested the 13th, which would mark exactly 3 months since Flight 5, a meaningful interval for SpaceX's progress. Moreover, the current launch window is reportedly open until the 16th, allowing some flexibility. Returning to the present situation, Musk's updated estimate appears reasonable when factoring in ongoing preparations. Musk giving out accurate estimates? Wow, we've come a long way, haven't we? On the hardware side, S-33 remains in Mega Bay 2, where it was recently mounted on the ship transport stand. Earlier, I speculated whether S-33 would receive its Starlink payload before or after transportation. This question has now been answered. It will be equipped with Starlink before being moved. Recent images revealed the Pez dispenser being loaded into S-33's payload fairing, followed by simulated Starlink satellites. While this process raises concerns about potential damage to the payload during subsequent testing, it significantly streamlines post-transportation steps. Meanwhile, S-33's aft flaps have undergone testing, ensuring their readiness for the mission. On the logistical front, the road closure schedule for transporting S-33 has been announced. Transportation is expected to occur from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on January 8th, between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. on the 9th, Central. If progress continues at this pace, S-33 could be stacked on Booster 14 by the end of the week or early next week for wet dress rehearsal testing. Booster 14's hot staging ring, which had been temporarily removed for inspection, was recently reinstalled, further supporting this timeline. However, the road closure schedule for the WDR testing has not yet been released. These developments align with Musk's updated launch estimate, reinforcing confidence in the revised timeline. Another factor contributing to the delay would be weather conditions. Adverse weather patterns in recent days may have made the original launch date unfeasible, further justifying the updated schedule. With these changes, Flight 7 now seems likely to launch after Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket, which has been officially confirmed for a January 10th debut. While this may feel like a missed opportunity for SpaceX to launch first, prioritizing meticulous preparation is crucial. Flight 7 is a highly significant mission with several critical objectives. These include deploying Starlink satellites, reigniting the engine in space, achieving vertical landing of the Starship, now upgraded to version 2 with numerous new designs, and completing Super Heavy's second ever landing using the Mechazilla Arm. Even if Flight 7 launches later, its groundbreaking scope has the potential to overshadow New Glenn's debut. Of course, New Glenn's inaugural mission may also encounter challenges. No first launch is without risks. As fans and supporters of SpaceX, we understand the importance of patience and preparation. A slight delay is a small price to pay for ensuring the mission's success. So, even with this revised timeline, let's continue to show our support. Please comment "Don't Stop Believing" to demonstrate your enthusiasm for SpaceX's journey. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the latest developments in SpaceX's exciting endeavors. Now, if SpaceX's Starship schedule holds steady, mid-January promises to be a highly active period for space exploration. In addition to developments with Starship, SpaceX has a significant lunar mission on the horizon. Both NASA and SpaceX have officially confirmed the launch schedule for the Blue Ghost lunar mission set for January 15th of 2025. This mission, aptly named Ghost Riders in the Sky, will be launched from Launch Complex 39A at Cape Canaveral, Florida, using SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. The launch is planned for 1:11 a.m. Eastern, marking an early start to what is expected to be a groundbreaking year in lunar exploration. The Blue Ghost spacecraft, built by Firefly Aerospace, was transported to Florida late last year. It'll carry the Japanese iSpace Hakuto R lander as part of its payload, which has likely arrived at the launch site. Once launched, the mission will span a total of 60 days, with several critical phases. The spacecraft will orbit Earth for the first 25 days, expected to last until February 9th. From there, it will spend 4 days transitioning to lunar orbit, concluding this phase by February 13th. Afterward, Blue Ghost will spend 16 days navigating the moon's orbit, ending around March 1st. The final phase will involve the spacecraft landing at its designated site on the moon, the Mare Crisium, or Sea of Crises. This large basaltic plain, spanning roughly 460 miles or 740 kilometers, was formed by an ancient asteroid impact. Blue Ghost will then conduct its mission over approximately 15 days until its batteries are depleted and lunar nightfall ends its operations on the 16th. The mission has both scientific and exploratory objectives. Blue Ghost carries 10 NASA-led science experiments and technology demonstrators to the lunar surface as part of NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services program. These experiments include observing solar wind, studying the lunar surface, collecting lunar dust samples, and using lasers to measure the precise distance between Earth and the Moon. Meanwhile, the Hakuto R lander will focus on establishing communication and power systems for future Japanese lunar missions. Both spacecraft play critical roles in advancing the Artemis program and paving the way for humanity's return to the Moon. SpaceX's involvement in lunar missions continues to grow. Last year, the company launched the IM-1 mission, another milestone in NASA's CLPS program. Following Blue Ghost, SpaceX plans to deploy the IM-2 mission using a Falcon 9 rocket in the first quarter of this year. By the year's end, SpaceX is also set to launch the Griffin mission with its Falcon Heavy rocket. These missions are critical stepping stones for the future of lunar exploration, providing vital data and experience for upcoming Artemis missions, including human landings. SpaceX's efforts also contribute significantly to the development of the Human Landing System, which will play a pivotal role in crewed lunar missions. The lessons learned from these robotic missions will help ensure the success of future landings and ultimately humanity's sustained presence on the Moon. Beyond the Moon, NASA has turned its attention to Mars with important updates to the Mars Sample Return program. On the 7th of January, NASA held a conference to evaluate new options for this ambitious initiative, which has faced significant challenges, including a projected cost of $11 billion and delays until 2040. This cost far exceeds the $3 billion originally estimated in 2020. In response, NASA initiated an overhaul of the MSR program in April last year, inviting private sector teams to submit innovative solutions. Out of 11 proposals, NASA selected 8 teams, awarding each $1.5 million to develop their concepts over 90 days. The January 7th meeting was held to determine which ideas will move forward. One proposed solution involves using a sky crane system estimated to cost between $6.6 billion and $7.7 billion. This approach would deploy a sample lander and a small Mars Ascent Vehicle, or MAV, to retrieve samples collected by the Perseverance rover. The samples would then be transferred to an ESA capsule in Mars orbit for return to Earth. Another option, though not fully detailed, seems to involve a heavy lander supported by private companies with an estimated cost of $5.8 to $7.1 billion. Both proposals represent significant cost reductions from the original $11 billion estimate and aim to accelerate the timeline, with samples potentially returning to Earth by 2035. While these ideas show progress, they still leave unresolved issues. The cost remains substantially higher than initially projected, and delays persist, with the timeline lagging behind China's target of 2028 for a similar mission. NASA's reliance on congressional funding adds further uncertainty, as annual appropriations could impact the project's feasibility and overall budget. Some estimates suggest that continued funding could add an additional $300 million per year, potentially negating the cost savings of the revised plans. Given these challenges, NASA's best chance for success may lie in collaboration with, you guessed it, SpaceX. With Musk's vision for Mars colonization, SpaceX is making remarkable progress toward interplanetary exploration. The company's uncrewed Mars mission is expected within the next 2 years, with a crewed mission anticipated within the next 4. SpaceX's ability to innovate and execute at an unprecedented pace makes it a strong contender for assisting NASA in its Mars sample return mission. Whether through direct involvement or by setting a new standard for efficiency and cost-effectiveness, SpaceX could prove to be a crucial partner in overcoming the challenges faced by the MSR program. As we approach mid-January, the excitement surrounding these missions underscores the rapid advancements in space exploration. From lunar landings to Mars sample returns, the collaboration between NASA and private companies like SpaceX is pushing the boundaries of what is possible, bringing humanity closer to becoming a multiplanetary species.
Big news, everyone. After much anticipation, SpaceX has officially released exciting updates for Flight 7. The list of upgrades is packed with major enhancements, and many of them have far exceeded everyone's expectations, including mine. But that's not all. SpaceX also kicked off this booming year with a successful Falcon 9 mission. With so many important news coming from the company, there's no time to waste of an exciting milestone. Flight 7, the first Starship flight of 2025. This year promises groundbreaking, incredible achievements and innovations that will continue to push the boundaries of space exploration. The Starship program is rapidly advancing, and with Flight 7 on the horizon, it's time to look at what has been accomplished so far and what's coming next. To date, SpaceX has been hard at work testing and refining the components for Starship. The stages have already completed their individual tests, and the next step is to move towards the final integration. The B-14 booster has been successfully transported to the launch pad, marking a significant milestone in the mission's preparation. In the latest update, SpaceX revealed that on the night of January 2nd, the FTS, or Flight Termination System, was installed on the B-14 booster, a crucial step in ensuring the safety of the flight. Now, B-14 will remain in place, awaiting the arrival of Starship S-33, where the stacking and integration process will take place. With all these preparations coming together, SpaceX is getting closer and closer to achieving its next major goal, Flight 7. To keep everyone informed, updates on the Flight 7 NOTAMs, or Notice to Airmen, have been released. These NOTAMs specify the warning areas and the exact timing of the flight, making it clear that everything is on track. Additionally, SpaceX has also provided updates on the schedule and maps for observation aircraft, which will be crucial for tracking the flight from a distance. As these updates roll in, it's evident that SpaceX is preparing for a thrilling launch. In fact, after these promising updates, SpaceX officially released further details about Flight 7, and the excitement is palpable. On social media, the company posted a tweet saying, "Starship's 6th flight test aims to push the vehicle to its limits as we iterate towards a rapidly reusable rocket. Up next, a new ship, new year, and new limits. Excitement still guaranteed." This tweet underscores the sense of anticipation with the promise of new milestones and technology improvements. Musk himself emphasized the importance of these technical upgrades, saying, "Posting technical upgrades to Starship, as I think a lot of people enjoy understanding how the technology is evolving from one flight to the next." Musk's comment highlights the company's transparency and commitment to keeping the public informed as they work towards a fully reusable rocket system. Go ahead and dive into some of these exciting specifics. As SpaceX has confirmed, Flight 7 will feature the debut of Starship V2, a new generation of the spacecraft with several significant upgrades. Among the most notable advancements is the introduction of new systems aimed at improving the reliability and performance of Starship's upper stage. SpaceX explained that these upgrades include modifications to the forward flap, which will now be smaller and have sharper edges. The flaps will also be repositioned closer to the tip of the vehicle and moved further from the heat shield. This adjustment is designed to improve the forward flap's contribution to navigation while also providing better protection during re-entry. One of the most crucial updates involves the propulsion system. Starship V2 will feature a 25% increase in fuel volume, which will allow for longer missions. To support this improvement, the vehicle will also see advancements in its fuel feed line system, which supplies fuel to the Raptor vacuum engines. Additionally, SpaceX will implement vacuum jacketing for the feed lines and improve the propulsion avionics module, which controls the vehicle's valves and sensors. As for the heat shield, which has been a focal point of previous Starship updates, this new version will include next-generation tiles that offer enhanced protection. These tiles will be supplemented with a backup layer to ensure protection in areas where tiles may be missing or damaged, further improving the spacecraft's resilience during re-entry. Meanwhile, avionics, a crucial aspect of the vehicle's flight control, will also undergo substantial upgrades. The redesigned avionics system will incorporate more powerful flight computers, integrated antennas that combine Starlink, GNSS, and backup RF communication functions, and updated inertial navigation and star tracking sensors. Additionally, the system will feature smart batteries and power units, providing 2.7 megawatts of power distributed across 24 high-voltage actuators. More than 30 cameras will be installed on the vehicle to monitor hardware performance during flight, offering engineers real-time insights that will allow them to make rapid adjustments and improvements. Speaking of Starlink, the satellite internet system will also play a critical role in the upcoming flight, as SpaceX highlighted that the Starship will be capable of streaming more than 120 megabits per second of high-definition video and telemetry throughout the mission. This capability will also allow engineers and viewers alike to track the spacecraft's journey more closely than ever before. As Starlink's capabilities continue to evolve, it's clear that the system will play an essential role in the success of future missions. Now let's talk about the mission itself. Flight 7 will carry payloads, marking the first time Starship will deploy payloads in space. SpaceX has confirmed that the spacecraft will deploy 10 Starlink simulators, designed to mimic the size and mass of the next generation of Starlink satellites. This payload deployment will take place during a suborbital trajectory, providing valuable data and expanding the capabilities of Starship. Additionally, SpaceX plans to relight one of the Raptor engines in space, a key test to demonstrate the vehicle's ability to perform complex maneuvers in orbit. At the end of the mission, the plan is for the second stage to make a controlled vertical landing in the Indian Ocean. This landing is part of the ongoing development of the spacecraft's reusability, which will ultimately be crucial for the long-term success of the program. And I've got to say, one of the most exciting aspects of this flight is the series of tests that will be conducted to prepare for the eventual catching of the second stage during future missions, potentially starting with Flight 8. As part of this preparation, SpaceX has removed some tiles to stress test certain areas of the spacecraft particularly those that are vulnerable during re-entry. This is all for a new metallic tile along with an active cooling system that will be tested on this flight to verify its capabilities in protecting Starship during re-entry. Thermal systems will also be installed on both sides of the ship to mitigate any issues related to heat buildup. A radar sensor will be tested on the Chopsticks system as well, which will be used to measure the distance between the vehicle and the catching system with greater accuracy. This upgrade is essential for improving the chances of a successful Starship catch in future missions, and it represents a significant step forward in developing reusable space transportation systems. Along with that, the Super Heavy booster, which will also play a key role in this mission, will reuse an engine from the B-12 Flight 5 booster, likely Raptor 314, marking the first reusability milestone for Starship. The reason why this is another exciting development is that it demonstrates SpaceX's commitment to reusability and cost-effective space travel. As for the tower hardware, it'll undergo improvements to better withstand the impacts of the launch process and ensure that the catch system remains intact and functional. In case of an emergency or unsuccessful catch attempt, SpaceX has a backup landing plan in the Gulf of Mexico, prioritizing safety first and foremost. The company also acknowledged the significant noise impact of the flight, but stressed it's part of the refining process for Starship and for future missions. Looking beyond all that, SpaceX aims to achieve full reusability with plans to send humans and cargo to orbit, the Moon, and Mars. As noted, this new year will be transformational for Starship with the goal of bringing reuse of the entire system online and flying increasingly ambitious missions. Flight 7 will be a crucial step toward making space travel more sustainable and accessible. If you're excited about this mission as much as I am, reply, "I'm ready" in the comments section down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. Indeed, there's no doubt in my special mind that this year is set to be a pivotal one for SpaceX, and they've kicked off 2025 with a remarkable Falcon 9 mission. Specifically, at 8:27 p.m. Eastern on January 3rd, SpaceX successfully launched a Falcon 9 rocket from SLC-40 in Florida. The rocket carried the Thuraya 4 spacecraft into GSO, marking an important milestone for both the company and the satellite payload from the UAE's Thuraya, a major provider of satellite communication services. The mission's booster B-1073 landed on the ASOG drone ship after nearly 9 minutes, marking its 20th successful landing. This also brought the total of number of successful landings for SpaceX to 341 so far. Following the booster landing, the payload was deployed into orbit about 35 minutes later, further highlighting the precision and reliability of rockets from SpaceX. This is the 418th Falcon 9 mission and SpaceX's 435 overall, launched from SLC-40, which accounted for nearly 2/3 of Falcon 9 launches in 2024. The pad saw 62 launches, including the quick turnaround of booster B-1080, and is set to remain crucial throughout 2025 alongside other active pads. As the first Falcon 9 launch of 2025, this mission marks the start of a busy year with over 180 Falcon 9 and 25 Starship launches planned. Following a record-setting 2024 with 138 missions, SpaceX is now in acceleration mode, building momentum toward Flight 7. The excitement for upcoming missions is growing, setting the stage for groundbreaking all around for this year. Incredible, everyone. As we approach Flight 7, the excitement only grows. Today, I'm thrilled to share some groundbreaking news. This flight could mark the very first reuse of a Starship component, and it's none other than the Raptor engine. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But it's true. Confirmed by, you guessed it, Elon Musk and SpaceX. This milestone would further solidify SpaceX's position as a trailblazer in the space industry, setting them even further apart from the competition. At the same time, over in China, ambitious plans for numerous new and reusable rockets are also taking shape this year. The upcoming Flight 7 will showcase an exciting combination of the S-33 and B-14, pairing a V-1 booster with a V-2 Starship. While SpaceX has officially transitioned to the V-2 configuration, it's surprising and perhaps a little disappointing that we still haven't seen the debut of the Raptor 3 engine, which was introduced last year. But that unexpected delay sets the stage for an intriguing twist in the first Starship flight of 2025. And the twist is that this flight will reuse a Raptor engine from Flight 5. Looking back to October last year, SpaceX stunned the world with the groundbreaking success of catching the super heavy B-12 during its landing. This feat had never been accomplished before. Beyond the sheer audacity of the maneuver, it introduced a new era of potential for reusability in Starship operations. However, as of now, there's no indication that B-12 itself will fly again. That's understandable. Starship has moved on to V2, rendering a V1 booster less relevant for future missions. And honestly, B-12 deserves a place in a museum as a testament to SpaceX's engineering ingenuity. While the booster hardware may retire, the engines it carried are another story. SpaceX hasn't yet transitioned to Raptor 3, which means the Raptor engines from B-12 remain viable for reuse. And now that possibility has become a reality. In a recently captured image, a notable Raptor engine, number 314, was spotted. This engine features a distinctive symbol, a pizza slice, etched above its serial number, earning it the nickname Raptor Pi. After B-12's triumphant landing in October, it was removed from the orbital launch mount. During this process, Raptor Pi was clearly visible, and now side-by-side comparisons with a recent photo reveal a fascinating development. Space pseudoer predict the Raptor Pi has been installed on another booster, likely B-14. Musk himself added fuel to this speculation by replying to the observation with a simple but telling, "Good observation." This tweet, though brief, strongly suggests that Raptor Pi is set to fly again in the upcoming mission. This development underscores the brilliance of SpaceX's Mechazilla Arm landing method. While this approach is riskier than other landing techniques, it involves landing directly at the launch site, surrounded by critical systems like fuel and infrastructure. It offers unparalleled advantages. The Mechazilla Arm enables SpaceX to land Starship intact with incredible speed. Once caught by the Chopsticks, Starship can be refurbished and prepped for its next flight almost immediately. This method lays the foundation for drastically reduced turnaround times, potentially reaching daily or even hourly launch cadences. Such frequency is a game changer for SpaceX, enabling it to increase launch rates, lower costs, and maintain a competitive edge. Moreover, this innovation brings SpaceX closer to its goal of creating the first fully reusable rocket, revolutionizing space travel in both affordability and efficiency. The reuse of Raptor Pi demonstrates how this method is already paying off. Engines like Pi are among the most complex and challenging systems to perfect, mainly in these early Starship flights. But SpaceX has made remarkable strides. After addressing initial issues, the company has significantly upgraded the Raptor engine system, achieving consistent performance across recent flights. These improvements include precise aviation and shutdown sequences, flawless navigation and landing, and reliable operation in space. With such advancements, the upcoming debut of Raptor 3 is even more exciting. This next-generation engine promises a more optimized design, greater reliability, and further enhancements to reusability, paving the way for even greater achievements. But before we witness Raptor 3 in action, we'll see Raptor Pi and its companions take the stage once again. Their performance in Flight 7 is sure to make waves. So, are you ready to cheer on Raptor Pi? If you are, comment "Let's go Pi." And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Join us as we continue to follow SpaceX's incredible journey and witness the future of space exploration unfold before our very eyes. In the meantime, reusability is indeed a game changer, and SpaceX's Raptor engine is poised to leave competitors in the dust. To date, SpaceX stands alone in its successful reuse of rocket engines, a feat pioneered with the Merlin engines on the Falcon rocket. This achievement is a testament to their innovation, as SpaceX remains one of the few organizations globally to master reusing rocket components. The increasing number of booster reuses demonstrates the exceptional reliability of Merlin engines, setting the stage for even greater advancements with Raptor. Historically, no rocket engine has truly excelled in reusability, but now, inspired by SpaceX's groundbreaking success, other organizations are attempting to catch up. Blue Origin, for example, developed the BE-4, a Methalox engine intended to compete with the Raptor. The BE-4 made its debut on the Vulcan Centaur mission in early 2024. However, as of now, these engines remain untested for reuse. Blue Origin is working toward reusability with plans to land the New Glenn booster on a drone ship. But even if successful, the process of reusing BE-4 engines will present significant challenges. Moving on across the globe, China's space industry has built a reputation for closely mimicking SpaceX's designs. Several private startups in China have adopted SpaceX-like rockets, combining elements of Falcon 9 and Starship. Despite their efforts, no Chinese rocket engine has been successfully reused, even by companies that have managed orbital launches. This gap highlights just how far behind SpaceX's competitors remain in the race for true reusability. With the Raptor engine, SpaceX is set to widen this gap even further. Building on the success of the Merlin engine, the Raptor promises to take reusability to the next level. Current advancements, including the Raptor 2 variant and its upcoming successor Raptor 3, are key to this program. The Raptor 3 is expected to enhance reusability not only for the engine itself, but for other Starship systems, such as the heat shield. SpaceX's continued innovation in catching and recovering both the booster and upper stage will play a vital role in achieving full reusability. I predict that Raptor 3 will debut when both the Starship booster and upper stage transition to their next versions, likely during Flight 8 or Flight 9. At SpaceX's current pace, these flights could occur in the first quarter of the year. Importantly, these missions will aim to catch both stages of Starship, further advancing the potential for Raptor reuse. If successful, SpaceX might be able to refurbish and reflight these engines by mid-year. This timeline would leave competitors, particularly Blue Origin, far behind. SpaceX may well reuse Raptor 3 engines before Blue Origin can even launch its second New Glenn rocket. While SpaceX charges ahead, China is ramping up efforts to enhance its own capabilities. The Long March family of rockets, a cornerstone of China's state-owned space program, is expanding to include reusable models. Before introducing the advanced Long March 9 or 10 versions, China is focusing on intermediate upgrades to bolster its launch capabilities. The Long March 8A, for instance, features a larger and more powerful second stage compared to its predecessor, allowing it to carry payloads of up to 7 tons to sun-synchronous orbit. This rocket is slated for its inaugural launch as early as January. Similarly, the Long March 12A is an upgraded reusable version of the expendable Long March 12. This model is designed to utilize liquid oxygen and methane engines, aligning with commercial needs. If all goes well, the Long March 12A could also launch this January, targeting an altitude of 75 kilometers. Private Chinese companies are also joining the reusability race. Landspace, for example, is preparing to launch the Zhuque-3, a rocket heavily inspired by SpaceX's Falcon 9 and Starship. Following the success of the Zhuque-2, the Zhuque-3 will aim to achieve reusability with its first launches expected early this year. Another notable contender is the Tianlong-3, which suffered a setback during a static fire test last year, but remains on track for a debut in the first half of the year. Other private players, such as CAS Space with its Kinetica 2 rocket, iSpace with the Hyperbola 3, and Galactic Energy with the Ceres 2, are all planning launches in the near future. These companies are striving to incorporate reusability into their designs, albeit with varying degrees of success. Despite these efforts, SpaceX remains unrivaled. Let's watch closely as the company solidifies its position. S-35 is taking shape. But what can we expect from it? Will it be caught by the Mechazilla arms? Well, that's a given. But what if I told you that recent updates have revealed that this ship has another exciting potential? What if I told you that we'll witness the fabled Pez dispenser in action? And finally, are you as excited as I am? A new era for Starship is rapidly approaching as both its stages aim to return in unique ways, making it the first fully reusable rocket in history. This groundbreaking development could begin as early as Flight 8 or, more realistically, Flight 9. the flight of Ship 35 that has been creating buzz recently. When we talk about Flight 9, the first thought that comes to mind is catching the Starship with Mechazilla's massive robotic arms. However, there's far more to anticipate than just this audacious maneuver. Flight 9 could also mark the first deployment of a useful payload, a milestone that will significantly elevate the Starship program. On December 28th, a fascinating update emerged. A PEZ dispenser system was spotted being moved into Megabay 2 at Starbase. This dispenser is likely intended for S-35, as S-34 appears to have completed production without this system. Moreover, the nose cone and payload fairing of S-35, recently seen removed from Megabay 2, suggest that the dispenser system will soon be installed before final stacking. The design of the dispenser remains consistent with previous iterations, featuring a robust frame of white steel bars connected by welding and screws. These bars support smaller reinforcements to ensure structural stability, creating an ideal platform for payload arrangement. What we see now may only be part of the system. The final design will likely include additional compartments, a payload lifting mechanism, and a pulley system for efficient deployment. The size of this dispenser seems unchanged, aligning with earlier prototypes. It'll likely fit snugly within the payload fairing of S-35, which, compared to version 1, has been reduced to allow for a larger fuel tank. Despite the smaller payload fairing, V2 boasts enhanced optimization, enabling it to carry more than V1. Recent imagery shared on social media has shed light on this optimization. While the payload fairing is smaller, the space within is utilized far more efficiently. Payloads are arranged in the PEZ dispenser to maximize the available room, filling the payload fairing from the common dome and extending closer to the methane header tank, now housed in the nose cone. This streamlined design increases Starship's payload capacity substantially. Previous estimates suggested that V1 could carry up to 40 Starlink V3 satellites. The new design for V2 could increase that number to as many as 54 satellites. Given that each V3 satellite weighs over 2 tons and spans 60 meters when fully deployed, Starship V2 will be capable of launching over 100 tons of Starlink payload. With smaller, more compact payloads, SpaceX could increase the capacity to between 150 and 200 tons. However, Starlink V3 satellites may not be deployed immediately. Initial payloads could include Starlink V2 minis, weighing 740 kilograms, or full-sized Starlink V2s, weighing in at 1.25 tons. These smaller payloads will likely allow SpaceX to test the PEZ dispenser system's efficiency before scaling up to V3 satellites. Payloads will likely be arranged in vertical stacks with 2 compartments in the dispenser separating the payloads for optimal space utilization. Satellites could deploy in pairs, starting with those on the bottom. This step-by-step deployment process will ensure precision and reliability critical for commercial missions. The engineering complexity of these systems reflects SpaceX's ambition to set new standards in payload deployment. For the aerospace industry, this approach holds the promise of drastically reducing satellite launch costs, enabling a new era of affordable access to space. These advancements could also accelerate global broadband coverage and serve as a stepping stone for interplanetary exploration. If all goes according to plan, the first payload launches and deployments could occur as early as 2025. Meanwhile, Flights 7 and 8 will serve as important stepping stones. Flight 7 will likely mimic the missions of Flight 5 and 6, focusing on catching the Super Heavy booster with Mechazilla's arms and landing the Starship in the ocean. If successful, Flight 8 will attempt to catch the Starship with Mechazilla for the first time. These flights may include simulated payloads, providing valuable data for future missions. For Flight 9, SpaceX could introduce Starlink satellites to test the PEZ dispenser system. While the number of satellites launched may be limited initially, this mission will serve as a critical validation of Starship's payload deployment capabilities. Regarding the timeline, the FAA is currently reviewing SpaceX's plan to conduct up to 25 launches from Starbase annually. If approved, SpaceX could achieve a launch cadence of 2 flights per month, potentially scheduling Flight 9 within the first quarter of 2025. Subsequent flights could gradually increase payload capacity, with SpaceX potentially mastering Starship's full payload deployment capabilities by late 2025. While some may view this timeline as ambitious, SpaceX has reasons to be confident. After 6 test flights, the company has demonstrated mastery of the ascent phase. Progress is now shifting toward refining the return process, with a focus on booster and ship recovery in Flights 7 and 8. Additionally, SpaceX has been steadily improving engine operations and payload deployment systems. Flight 6 marked a successful in-space engine ignition, and earlier flights tested payload doors, albeit not comprehensively. These incremental achievements lay a solid foundation for the first meaningful payload mission on Flight 9. The upcoming payload missions have implications far beyond just technological achievement. They represent a critical step towards SpaceX's long-term goal of building a sustainable human presence on Mars. Reliable, high-capacity rockets like Starship will be essential for transporting the necessary equipment, supplies, and people to the Red Planet. The reusability of both stages also promises to disrupt the satellite launch industry, reducing costs to unprecedented levels and paving the way for more ambitious projects. This could lead to the deployment of larger and more sophisticated satellite constellations, expanding the possibilities for space-based applications like climate monitoring, disaster management, and deep space observation. The potential for innovation is enormous, and SpaceX is well-positioned to lead the charge. Starship's advancements could inspire a new wave of investment in space exploration and technology, fostering partnerships and collaborations that will shape the future of the aerospace industry. This mission could signal the beginning of an era where Starship reshapes the aerospace industry. Its unparalleled launch frequency and massive payload capacity have the potential to revolutionize satellite deployment, interplanetary exploration, and even human space travel. Are you as excited about Flight 9 and its first significant payload launch as we are? If so, let us know by responding with "Let's do it" in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on SpaceX's incredible journey. SpaceX's progress in 2025 is already evident. Competitors such as ULA seem to recognize this momentum and have responded with ambitious plans for their rockets, though some of these ambitions might seem a bit far-fetched. For ULA, 2024 marked a pivotal year for the Vulcan Centaur. After years of delays and setbacks, they successfully launched the debut mission, CERT-1, at the beginning of the year, followed by the second, CERT-2, in October. Compared to previous years filled with stagnation and disappointment, these launches represent clear progress. However, challenges remain. Despite the positive milestones, the pace of ULA's launches has been less than ideal. There was a significant 9-month gap between CERT-1 and CERT-2, and now further delays have emerged after technical issues arose during CERT-2. These problems have prolonged the launch certification process, leaving the overall progress far below expectations. Even with these setbacks, ULA is setting ambitious goals for 2025. The company plans up to 20 Vulcan missions following certification approval from the U.S. Space Force. According to a report from Breaking Defense, ULA's CEO Tory Bruno stated that 16 Vulcan rockets are already in inventory, poised to meet this aggressive launch cadence. In addition to Vulcan missions, ULA still has a backlog of 15 Atlas V flights. These include 9 missions to launch Kuiper satellites for Amazon and 6 Starliner missions. Given that the Kuiper missions are scheduled for late 2025 and early 2026, it's reasonable to project that ULA aims for over 25 launches in 2025. This would represent a record-breaking year for the company. Yet, such a goal raises significant doubts. For one, Bruno's claim of readiness has yet to be substantiated. ULA has struggled to assemble vehicles efficiently before each mission, and each Vulcan mission depends heavily on the timely delivery of the Blue Origin BE-4 engines. Complicating matters further, Blue Origin is also gearing up for the debut of its own New Glenn rocket in 2025, which could strain its production capacity. Considering these factors, it seems improbable that ULA can achieve 20 Vulcan launches in a single year with its current capabilities. Even meeting a target of 5 to 10 launches could prove challenging. The first Vulcan mission of 2025, USSF-106, is unlikely to launch before April. With such a delayed start, reaching a high frequency of launches will be extremely difficult. In addition to Vulcan missions, ULA faces pressure to complete its other commitments, including multiple national security space launch missions in 2025 and 2026. Completing all these missions on time will be an uphill battle. Meanwhile, ULA is not the only player in the field. Rocket Lab has demonstrated remarkable progress in recent years and is poised for a strong performance in 2025. The debut of its new medium-lift rocket Neutron is expected to further bolster its position. Blue Origin 2 is gearing up for a critical year. The company plans to leave its mark in 2025 as New Glenn finally makes its way to orbit. After promising test results in late 2024, expectations are high for Bezos' aerospace venture. Yet the spotlight will undoubtedly remain on SpaceX. The company is targeting an incredible 25 launches in 2025, featuring groundbreaking missions such as catching Starship with Mechazilla, deploying innovative payload systems, and advancing its orbital refueling technologies. These ambitious efforts are likely to eclipse the progress of ULA and other competitors. In many ways, 2025 represents a transformative year for the US aerospace industry. After years of preparation, key players are stepping into the limelight, showcasing their strengths in a rapidly evolving market. The competition is fierce, and the stakes are higher than ever. How this race unfolds remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. 2025 will be a pivotal year in shaping the future of space exploration.
The greatest technological challenge. That's how Elon Musk described the fully and immediately reusable heat shield. Yet he's now confident that SpaceX can overcome this challenge, achieving unprecedented capabilities this year and mastering it by the next. It sounds ambitious, but there are many promising developments that suggest it's within reach. So how is SpaceX upgrading its heat shield to tackle this formidable obstacle? It can be said that no organization, past or present, has focused on rapid and full reusability as intensely as SpaceX. Their goal is to reuse everything: launch systems, rockets, engines, and even the most challenging component of all, the heat shield. The heat shield is arguably the most difficult aspect of reusability because it consists of tens of thousands of small interlocking tiles. Managing and maintaining such a complex system is no small feat. Recently, Musk shared an intriguing update on this topic. In response to a question on X about the long-term challenges of Starship's heat tiles, Musk stated, "I am confident that we will figure out a fully reusable, technically a high multi-flight reusable heat shield in 2025. At first glance, this seems almost unbelievable. For the heat shield to achieve full reusability, all 18,000 tiles must withstand re-entry without damage, undergo minimal refurbishment, and be ready to fly again immediately. Moreover, Musk's emphasis on a high multi-flight reusable system implies that these tiles must maintain their durability over multiple flights. This is a monumental achievement, especially given that tiles have fallen off or broken during previous test flights. SpaceX has not yet fully reused both stages of Starship either, making the goal seem even more ambitious. However, Musk's confidence isn't unfounded. He has outlined a clear vision for achieving this feat. In a tweet, he stated, "A truly reusable orbital heat shield has never been made, but I think SpaceX has a decent chance of solving it in 2025 and solving it well in 2026. This roadmap aligns with SpaceX's ongoing efforts to innovate and improve. In recent flights, significant progress has been made with the heat shield. For one, SpaceX has likely upgraded the pin system that secures the tiles, resulting in fewer instances of tiles falling or breaking. This improvement alone marks a critical step toward reliability. Additionally, SpaceX has shown a proactive approach to addressing problems. For example, after observing re-entry issues with the tiles on Ship 29, they removed and redesigned the heat shield for Ship 30. These newer tiles are likely made from enhanced materials that offer great durability. To complement these upgrades, SpaceX has also introduced ablative layers as a backup solution for the heat shield. These layers can absorb and dissipate heat during re-entry, adding another layer of protection. Recent flights have demonstrated the effectiveness of these systems, with successful re-entries achieved despite the immense heat and stress. Looking beyond, SpaceX has even more ambitious plans for the heat shield. Musk has mentioned developing a metallic version of the heat shield to replace the current ceramic tiles. This would be an unprecedented innovation, potentially offering superior durability and reusability. Moreover, advanced cooling systems, mainly using water, methane, or nitrogen, may be integrated into the heat shield. These systems could help manage extreme temperatures during re-entry, further enhancing the shield's performance. SpaceX has also tested heat shield designs for future Mars missions.
A recently released test video showed a new version of the heat shield enduring extremely harsh conditions, underscoring the company's commitment to developing robust technology. Even in the near term, SpaceX is implementing upgrades. For instance, S-35 features prominent red tiles on its nose cone, which suggests a significant improvement in materials. These tiles will likely be tested in upcoming flights, offering valuable data for future iterations. Based on recent advancements, it's plausible that SpaceX could achieve a reusable heat shield this year. As Musk suggested, the company might be able to reuse a ship with its original heat shield for 1 or 2 flights by 2025. By 2026, they aim to refine the system to support multiple flights, fulfilling Musk's vision of a high multi-flight reusable heat shield. SpaceX's ambitious flight schedule provides ample opportunities to test and perfect this technology. The company plans to conduct up to 25 flights by the end of 2025. To support this goal, they are ramping up production, expanding testing facilities, and improving their launch systems. Prototypes are being produced and prepared at an unprecedented pace, allowing for rapid iteration and innovation. During these flights, SpaceX is expected to introduce a critical advancement in ship's recovery method. While current ocean landings serve as a temporary solution, SpaceX plans to transition to catching ships with the Mechazilla Arm. This method is considered optimal for refurbishment and reusability. If SpaceX begins testing this approach as early as Flight 8, scheduled for later this year, they could master the technique by mid-year. If you're as excited about this breakthrough as we are, let us know with a wow in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on SpaceX's remarkable journey. Indeed, in order to achieve full reusability for Starship, SpaceX must address several critical steps during upcoming flights, including upgrading the heat shield and refining other flight systems. One of the initial objectives will be repeating and perfecting the feat accomplished in Flight 5, catching the Super Heavy booster using the Mechazilla Arm. This will be attempted again in Flight 7, followed by mastering the method in subsequent flights. While it may seem that Super Heavy is unrelated to the reusable heat shield, achieving full reusability for the rocket as a whole depends on the success of both components. Without the booster being reusable, the effort to perfect the heat shield loses much of its significance. Another key milestone will be Starship's final ocean landing in Flight 7. This step will serve as a crucial test for the heat shield, engine, and flaps. Successfully completing this test will pave the way for an even greater challenge, a full journey around Earth, followed by re-entry and a precision landing caught by the Mechazilla Arm. The difficulty of this endeavor cannot be understated, as it requires extreme precision and flawless operation across multiple systems. The heat shield will play a pivotal role throughout these processes, as it must protect Starship from the intense heat of re-entry and endure the entire journey unscathed. Meanwhile, systems like the flaps and engines must ensure accurate navigation and deceleration to position the spacecraft for a precise landing. Additionally, the chopstick catching system on the launch tower will need to operate seamlessly. For its first catching mission, whether Tower A or Tower B is used, challenges abound. If Tower A is selected, the chopstick system must quickly transition from handling Super Heavy to catching the returning Starship. Alternatively, using Tower B presents the unique challenge of operating a previously untested system. Despite these hurdles, SpaceX has a solid foundation of confidence in its systems. Navigation components like flaps and grid fins have demonstrated reliable performance in past flights, and the engines have operated effectively on at least the last 2 missions. Additionally, the chopstick system's success during Flight 5 offers reassurance regarding its capabilities. All of these efforts aim toward the ultimate goal of achieving full reusability for Starship, with all systems functioning harmoniously. As SpaceX works on these advancements, early 2025 is set to be a strong period for its Falcon 9 program, particularly with upcoming lunar missions. Specifically, SpaceX is scheduled to launch 2 Falcon 9 missions that will carry up to 4 lunar vehicles, including 3 landers. The first of these missions is the Blue Ghost mission, slated for January. This mission will deploy the Blue Ghost spacecraft built by Firefly under NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services initiative. Its objectives include studying elements related to the Moon, Sun, and Earth sciences. The Blue Ghost spacecraft has already arrived in Florida in preparation for the mission. Alongside Blue Ghost, the Hokuto R lunar lander, developed by Japan's iSpace, will also be aboard. iSpace, which previously built the SLIM lunar lander, launched in 2023, though it failed to land, is taking another crack at lunar exploration. The Hokuto R's key tasks include establishing communication links and a power supply on the lunar surface. The second mission involves the IM-2 mission, scheduled for launch by Falcon 9 around January or February. This mission is for Intuitive Machines, a familiar SpaceX partner that saw success with the IM-1 mission in early 2024. The IM-2 mission aims to locate water ice at the Moon's south pole. Accompanying the Intuitive Machines lunar lander will be NASA's Lunar Trailblazer orbiter. While the lander searches for water ice directly, the Trailblazer will conduct its search from orbit, offering complementary data to support lunar exploration goals. NASA's determination to return to the Moon is evident in its push for lunar lander missions, especially after the IM-1 and Astrobotic missions in 2024. These efforts align with NASA's long-term plans, including the Artemis II crewed mission scheduled for 2026. The data gathered from these precursor missions will be vital to informing future crewed exploration efforts. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, this has been Kevin from Great SpaceX. Until next time, keep looking up.